What up, peeps? Welcome back to another GameStop unboxing video. So if you guys saw on the channel either yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure when I'm uploading this one, but I finally uploaded my really large GameStop unboxing, largest one on YouTube as far as I could tell. And that was when GameStop did their buy one get one free sale. Well, GameStop later did a buy two get two free, which is essentially the same thing. And I bought a lot more stuff, not as much as last time, and a lot of the stuff they didn't actually have in stock, but I figured I would make a part 2 to this video, basically, and open up everything here on camera. Now, I'm not going to edit it the same way that I edited the last one, because that last video took me at least 10 to 12 hours to edit, and I can't do that again, so I'm just going to be putting in totals at the very end for what we spent and what everything is worth. So, we have 3 boxes here, 2 more big boxes here. So I'm going to clear some room, and then we'll start opening these things. So I'm going to put the box down here on my lap just so that it's not blocking your guys' view. Move those out of the way. All right, so last time I also tried to open up every single bag, which ended up taking way too long. So I'm just going to show them to you in the bags. So we have 2 copies of Mario Kart. Sorry, I'm filming on my phone this time. And then we have 2 copies of Earthworm Jim 2. 2 copies of Illusion of Gaia. 2 copies of Donkey Kong Country 2. And I am kind of looking for bootlegs as we're going here. Those ones all look good. 2 copies of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for NES. 2 copies of Rampage World Tour for the N64. Got 2 Yoshi Stories for N64. 2 Mega Man 4s for NES. And then we have 2 copies of Final Fantasy Adventure for the original Game Boy. 2 copies of The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons for the Game Boy Color. 2 copies of Pokemon Red for the Game Boy. And finally, in the first box here, 2 copies of Maximum Carnage, which comes in the red cartridge there for Super Nintendo. On to the second box. All right, so next box, we have 2 copies of Pokemon, or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I almost said Pokemon Pro Skater. And also 2 copies of Maniac Mansion for the NES. We have 2 Killer Instinct Golds. If you guys missed that last video, I explained why I'm always ordering 2 copies and everything. But basically, you can only order 2 copies of a game at once. You can do multiple orders, but only 2 at a time. And to get the best deal possible, you have to do an order where every game is the same price, because they'll just try to give you the cheapest ones for free. But if they're all the same price, then you get the you get the best deal. 2 Bomberman Heroes for the N64. And then lastly, in this box, we have 2 Pokemon Golds and 2 Pokemon Silvers. So, on to the next one. Alright, so on to the next box here. This one looks really, really full. So first, we have 2 copies of Kid Icarus. And then, unless it's buried, we have 1 copy of Battletoads. And then 2 copies of Secret of Evermore. Two copies of Donkey Kong Country 1. We have Joe and Mac for the Super Nintendo. And then we have 2 copies of Metroid 2 for the original Game Boy. And 2 copies of Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. Both of those have the original batteries, which we replace here at the store. So that is it for that box. On to the next one. All right, so this next box here is pretty full. So we have 2 copies of Kirby's Adventure for the NES. We have DuckTales for the NES. These are really mixed up, so it'll be kind of hard to find the duplicate. So we have Mortal Kombat 2, Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, Kirby's Avalanche for Super Nintendo, 2 copies of Metroid for the NES. We have Tetris and Dr. Mario for the Super Nintendo. There's our second DuckTales. And we have Lemmings for the Super Nintendo. And then here's our other Magical Quest. Here's our second Kirby's Dream Course. And we have Super Street Fighter 2, 2 copies. And then here's our second copy of Lemmings. We have The Simpsons, Bart's Nightmare. Our second copy of Tetris and Dr. Mario. RoboCop versus Terminator. There's a second one of those, and also a second Bart's Nightmare. And then 2 copies of Buck Bumble for the N64, which is an awesome game. 2 copies of Beavis and Butthead for the Super Nintendo. Another Mortal Kombat 2. And we have Beetle Adventure Racing for the N64, and a Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Another Beetle Adventure Racing. And then some Game Boy games. We have Wario Land, which is Super Mario Land 3, and Kid Icarus. Adventure Island for the Game Boy. There is a second copy of that one. And then Mega Man Extreme for the Game Boy. There's like a dust on these bags. Wario Land 2. It's making me have trouble breathing. Another Duke Nukem 0 Hour. That one's pretty faded. Another Kid Icarus for Game Boy. Final Fantasy Legend for Game Boy. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. And then Harvest Moon 2 for the Game Boy Color. Here's our second Wario Land. And Castlevania Adventure for Game Boy. A very faded Wario Land 2. And another Mega Man Extreme. Another Harvest Moon 2. Then we have Castlevania Adventure and another Final Fantasy Legend. And then finally in this box, we have another Mario Bros. Deluxe. So onto the last box now. All right, onto our last box here. So we have Perfect Dark. Get the packing slip out of here. And then we have Double Dragon 3, Turtles 2, the arcade game. We have Mega Man for the Game Boy. And then Kirby's Dream Land for Game Boy. Donkey Kong Land 3. And South Park for the N64. That one's pretty faded. Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. There's our second Perfect Dark. Super Mario World. There's Ninja Gaiden. Kirby's Dream Land with a weird... It has a sticker on the back that says return to warehouse defective. So that's probably not a super nice sign, but we'll test it out. Another Turtles 2 arcade. Another Mega Man for Game Boy. There's our second copy of South Park. And then we have our second Ninja Gaiden. Last couple here, another Double Dragon 3. Another Donkey Kong Land 3. Another Ghosts and Goblins. And finally, Super Mario World. So that is everything. Obviously didn't spend near as much as we did the first time, but I'll put the totals on screen here so you guys can see what we spent and what everything is valued at here at the store. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and although the first one was way more work, way more editing and stuff like that, and of course way longer, but if you missed it, definitely check it out. And thank you guys so much for liking and commenting and subscribing. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. So thanks for watching. See you next time.